Welcome back, MTN Giants podcast, reacting to the second episode of the Giants Hard Knocks series. It actually went pretty quickly. It's only 9:45, so it kind of flew by. But it was, once again, pretty cool. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that you would never see, and it was definitely worth watching. So I'll go over what I thought was interesting. I'm going to do this for every video. I got some comments last video saying, yeah, you should react to every one. So, hey, why not? So we'll do that. I think there's like maybe 4 or 5 more, so definitely going to do this every Tuesday night. Hope you guys enjoy, of course. Leave a like, and let's get into it. I do want to go in somewhat of an order, but I will say, to kind of get into what we saw at the end there, that conversation that Shane had with Saquon at the end was very awkward. Like, we'll get to that, of course, and I'll kind of leave it like a cliffhanger, but like it was an awkward conversation. They're tweeting about this now, the Ari Mirov account. Basically, I could play this, I guess, through the microphone if you guys haven't watched it or whatever, so I'll do that at the end, but definitely awkward, but really cool behind the scenes type stuff once again. So the episode started with Joe Shane getting, I guess, an email about the, or maybe it was like a Twitter notification, who the hell knows, but he saw the cap number was $255.4 million this year, and he was very pleasantly surprised by that. He was like, whoa, I'm sitting here watching free agents, and I just got even more excited. So he was surprised by the large cap number, which I don't know why. I feel like we knew about that for a while. I feel like even just regular fans like myself just knew, not me personally, but just regular fans knew that the salary cap was going to be a large amount this year. So anyway, he was surprised by that. And he did say right after that the Giants could possibly get something done with Xavier McKinney, which of course we know now did not happen, but that was brought up by Joe Shane right after the salary cap number was released. The stuff with the quarterback class, the draft class this year, was also really cool. And they talked about stuff that we already know about, of course, how it's more about knowing their personalities and knowing if they can handle this market, which is very important, of course. And, I don't give this guy many compliments, but it is something that Daniel Jones does very well. He handles this market very well. He doesn't really say the wrong things. He doesn't do stupid shit. So I give Daniel Jones credit for that. But they talked to the quarterback class, and I think everybody in the top, not Penix though. That was surprising. So every top quarterback, no Penix and no Nix. But the other 4 guys, I think it's 4, right? Drake May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy, I believe. Yeah, so they showed those 4 guys, and look, they had no real shot at Caleb. I think we all knew that. There was a shot, I guess, around the combine time that they can get the other 3 guys, but, by the time they were on the clock, 2 of those other guys were gone. The only guy they had a chance at was J.J. McCarthy. Of course, we know now they passed on him, but it was really cool to see what happened. They basically had the scouts and the coaches in one room, and they would give the quarterback prospect, whether it was McCarthy or Caleb or Jaden Daniels, they would give him like a black expo marker, a big-ass whiteboard, and basically Brian Dable was like, all right, draw me your favorite play. And then Brian Dable would just observe what's going on here and saying, oh, switch this to the Y receiver and switch that to the X, and like just so much football terminology that I'll never fully understand, but just seeing how that whole process worked. And then there was a time where Dable would say a play to Jaden Daniels. It was Daniels specifically, and Daniels had to recite the play that Dable said like 3 different times. Like, it was funny. They asked him a question, and Daniels was in the middle of just, saying his answer, and then Dable is just like, pause, what's that play again? And he has to say that exact play back. I forget what it was. I don't have a great memory, but it's just, I was picturing myself in like the quarterback shoes, and like that has to be such a high pressure situation. Obviously, those quarterbacks have played in very high pressure games, especially guys that go to big schools like the LSU, Michigan, and whatnot. Like, these guys have played in big games before, but to be in a room like that with all these coaches and all these scouts and general managers, it's got to be so intimidating. Like, it's kind of like a job interview, but like a lot worse, because you're being interviewed not by one person, it's by 15, 20 people. And like, this is your this is your job on the line right here. This is the difference of millions of dollars possibly. So I kind of thought about it in the quarterback's shoes, like, wow, this is tough. Like, I give these guys a lot of credit. Oh, this was pretty cool. I didn't know this, honestly. I mean, I guess I should have known this, and maybe you guys knew this, but when Joe Schoen had his media availability right before the combine started, where I think it's not just the Giants people because it's in Indianapolis. Like, I think any reporter can just ask that's there. And they were actually prepping for the media interview like 2 hours before it happened. And one of the other Giant scouts was pretending to be a member of the media and asking Joe Schoen questions. And Joe Schoen would kind of like just practice in a way, kind of like the same way you would practice for like a public speech type thing for your college class or something. Like, it was pretty cool. Like, you would have the Giants scouts asking Joe Schoen, all right, what would you do with Saquon Barkley? And Joe Schoen would just sit there and answer the question and then go out 2 hours later and do the real thing. So I had no idea. Like, I honestly thought, maybe I'm naive, like I thought they just went out there and answered questions and that was it. Like, I didn't know there was like actual prep to do these whole media availability sessions, but I guess that does make sense. There was a clip of Shane Bowen, who was at the combine, of course, and basically raving about Tyler Nubin. Of course, the Giants took him in the second round, safety out of Minnesota. And I'm sure they put that in there on purpose, but it was like kind of funny how it's like, oh, this Nubin kid, he's impressive. And then the Giants took him. The quarterback class, as I mentioned, they drew their favorite plays. Malik Neighbors was brought in for some questions, and I gotta be honest, the interview, at least the parts that they showed, because they didn't show the entire interview, but the parts they showed with Malik Neighbors, it makes me even more surprised they took him. You know, I gotta be honest, like, I'm happy they took him. I'm a big Malik Neighbors guy, but seeing the interview and the way he answered the questions, which to his credit, he was honest. Like, I think Dable basically asked him, like, all right, if you're not getting the ball early in a game, how do you feel about it? And Malik Neighbors was basically like, yeah, I'm not going to be happy about it. Like, you know, so he was like not giving like the standard answer that you probably should give. He was giving genuine answers, which once again is nice. And Dable kind of had to tell Neighbors like, hey, like, you got to learn to calm yourself down. And Dable said like, hey, I got to learn to calm down myself on the sidelines at some point, which he's definitely right about. So it was really interesting to see how he just answered those questions so honestly, which maybe is a reason that they liked Neighbors. Like, you know, I feel like Roma Dunze in the parts they showed, he was really good. He was, you know, speaking slowly and didn't really seem intimidated, and just said all the right things. He's like, yeah, I could play anywhere. I'm a good blocker downfield, and like just said the right things at Dunze. Then you had Neighbors, and it like wasn't really, like, once again, it was genuine, but wasn't stuff that you would recommend somebody saying on an interview, quote unquote. So as we know now, they took Neighbors, and that's, you know, is what it is. But Joe Schoen had a quote saying that Neighbors seemed more reserved than he thought he would be, because Joe Schoen thought based on the way that Neighbors played on the field, he'd be a lot more, like, I guess, energetic and whatnot and more outspoken. But I think Joe Schoen was a bit taken back by, like, how reserved and somewhat relaxed that Malik Neighbors was. Shane said that, this was Brandon Brown. This was a funny quote as well about the wide receiver position. Brandon Brown said, find me a receiver, a corner, or a pass rusher who was a choir boy. And like, it makes sense because like, I think they were talking about the potential character concerns with these players and maybe specifically Malik Neighbors. And Brandon Brown just gives us like the truth. It's like, you know what? This guy's right. Like, yeah, find us a receiver or a corner that's not outspoken and has, you know, a little bit of attitude like most great ones do. We know about Odell Beckham, right? I mean, I think Odell was definitely painted in the wrong way here sometimes. I think calling him a locker room cancer was crazy. I think his teammates actually really liked him. Was he a distraction at times? Absolutely. I can't deny that. But I think it's the right thing to say. Brandon Brown's 100% correct. Like, for every Larry Fitzgerald who, you know, says all the right things and doesn't show up his quarterback and just flips the ball to the ref and doesn't do dances, for every Larry Fitzgerald, there's another, 500 other receivers that just do all those things. They'll throw their hands up when a quarterback has a bad pass or display bad body language or do these dances in the end zone, which I don't find, I love end zone dances. Like, that makes the NFL more fun, but some people don't like that stuff, the no fun league. I'm trying to think of when they changed that rule. It was probably a long time ago now, but there was that time when you would get flagged for celebrating and dancing in the end zone, which is just stupid, but I'm glad they took that out. But the point I was getting to is, like, yeah, you're going to find a lot more receivers that do those things than not. The Larry Fitzgeralds of the world, those guys are rare. You don't see many of them, right? So I think Brandon Brown, the assistant GM, of course, like, he was definitely onto something when saying that. Like, yes, we have to be real about this. Not many wide receivers and corners and pass rushers and whatnot are not going to have attitudes and egos and certain personalities. Like, they're going to have these things. Like, it's part of the baggage that comes along with having a great player at that position more times than not. This was funny as well. Brian Dable said that Sam Hartman, who was the Notre Dame quarterback, I don't know where he went in the draft. He wasn't a high pick, though. He said he looks like the guy from Full House, or the dude from Full House, and believe he was referring to Jesse, or Uncle Jesse, who was John Stamos, and they showed like this slow motion 40 time from Sam Hartman with his long hair flowing, and it's like, yeah, I can kind of see that actually. So that was a funny quote. It actually had me laughing. And then towards the end, as I mentioned, we got to Joe Schoen talking to Saquon's agent, Ed Berry, and basically saying, like, yeah, we don't want to give, like Joe Schoen said, we don't want to give Saquon an offer that he finds disrespectful and then out of spite accepts another offer that's only a little better than the Giants offer. So then Joe Schoen, right after the talk with the agent, gets on the phone with Saquon himself. And at first, it's like they're kind of beating around the bush, and Joe's like, hey, how's your off season going? And Saquon's like, oh, I've been traveling, going to start getting back into the grind now. And then they get into the real business of like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Shane says that we're not going to do the same thing we did last year, which of course was franchise tag you. We're going to let you hit the market. And Joe Schoen basically asked Saquon straight up, will you give us a chance to match an offer if you do get an offer from somewhere else? And the way Saquon answered that, it was not something that was too reassuring. That's for damn sure. He wouldn't say yes. He would not straight up say yes. When Joe Schoen asked him that question, Saquon basically said, you know where I want to be. It wasn't like he said, yeah, I'll give you guys a chance to match. Saquon just said, you guys know where I want to be. That's what he said. So if I'm Joe Schoen in that situation, I'm probably like, shit, this guy is not happy. And you can tell, like, you can sense the tension in his voice and just the way he was talking. No body language because it's on the phone, it's on speakerphone. But the way the conversation was going, if you've ever had a phone call before that's not going too well, that's the definition of it. It's like, all right, something's off here. This guy's not too happy with us. Shit may hit the fan here. And as we know, him joining Philly, and like we'll find out probably in the next episode, which should give us some more insight on the actual free agent signings. We should find out like what actually went down. Did Saquon give the Giants a chance to match the Eagles' offer? Or did he just straight up accept it and say F you to the Giants and never tell them about it? We'll find out. I forget if that was reported or not. It might have been, but probably not. And like it's tough to believe reporters. Like we're going through this now. I'm sure a lot of Knicks fans are watching this video as well. We're going through this now with the Mikal Bridges thing. Did Mikal Bridges request a trade or did he not? Right, you have, I think it's Ian Begley, who's, I think he's the SNY reporter for the Knicks or something like that. And he's tweeted now twice and said on an interview that Mikal Bridges did request a trade. Then you had the Nets GM and Mikal Bridges denying it. And, like, you don't know what to believe is what I'm trying to get to here. So, like, I want to see it in Hard Knocks next week, next Tuesday night, a week from now when I'm talking to you guys. I want to see how this played out. Did Saquon Barkley call the Giants and give him a chance to match, or did his agent, Mr. Ed Berry, did he give the Giants a chance to match? Or did Saquon take the Eagles' offer and say, F these guys, I'm out of there, I'm not going back to New York no matter what, and that's the end of it? So I kind of feel like it's the latter. Like, I kind of feel like he took the offer and didn't even give the Giants a chance. We'll see. That's just kind of how I feel. So anyway, that's pretty much it. That's what I had in my notes section, at least. And I will play the phone call for you guys now just to before I forget, because I almost did. So Ari Mirov posted this. Let's see. It's gonna be tough to hear. It's gonna be tough. Yeah, so I'm not gonna do it. So the audio is not gonna be great. It's coming from a speakerphone, so like, I don't know. But look up on Twitter or X at My Sports Update. He tweeted the entire interaction. I would definitely recommend doing it. I'd recommend, once again, watching the entire thing. Somebody commented last video, like, what do I do if I don't have HBO Max? I don't know. There might be free trials. I'm using my girlfriend's account, so shout out to her for that. I'm not paying for this, but there's got to be some type of free trial or something, or maybe just, buy it for a week. Like let the series end first and then binge watch it all at the end and then cancel it right after you're done. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, I hate how this stuff works these days. I think Hard Knocks has always been like this, but I hate how the NFL does this. I get why they do it, but like they'll put games on Peacock, they'll put games on Amazon Prime, like the Thursday night games. It is so stupid. I miss the days of just being able to have cable TV and put the shit on, and that's it. I'm sounding like a boomer right now. I'm not even 30, but that's how I feel. I just hate the way that things are trending. So anyway, before I get off on more tangents, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. I forget how many total episodes there are, but I did see it earlier today too, which pisses me off. But once again, not the best memory. I think there's like 5 or 6 episodes, so we're probably like a little close to halfway through here. But it's been fun so far. It's been interesting and definitely learned a lot of new stuff. And specifically like the GM Joe Shane prepping for the interview with the media. That was pretty cool to see. The quarterback prospects drawing on the whiteboard and remembering certain play calls, like that was cool as well. And then, of course, the awkward conversation on the phone with Saquon at the end. That's stuff we want to see as fans. Like, it's in the past now. I know Saquon's gone, but just to see how it played out, like, it's like, whoa, that's pretty damn awkward. So it's kind of cool to see it play out that way. So anyway, that's going to do it for the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you next Tuesday night around this time. Once again, I recommend watching this, but if not, maybe wait till it's over once again and get a free trial or something. I don't know. Get your buddy's account, because I think you can watch on, you can give out your account to your friends and give them their login information and whatnot. So if you know somebody with HBO Max, get their email address, get their password. I got to watch my Giants, tell them, and just do that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys next time.